Well, the conclusion to this window just got interesting. What's going on, guys? JSGC here, back again with another daily Manchester City transfer update. Before I do crack on with today's update, make sure, like always, if you are enjoying the content, then do subscribe to my channel. I'm going to keep you guys up to date every single day with all the latest City transfer news here on YouTube, so if you haven't already, do subscribe. Also, don't forget social media links there in the description if you want to go and follow me on my X, Instagram and TikTok. Email also in the description too if you want to hit me up for any sponsorship for any videos or any general business inquiries. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up on today's transfer update. We're aiming for 300 likes, and do get your thoughts as well in the comments below. Finally, if you want to come and join me on my Fantasy Premier League, then links and details, they are in the description. If you use code XXSVL5, that will join you to the JSGC League. We'll have a lot of fun with that over the coming season, so do feel free to come and join me on my Fantasy Premier League. So we've got no contract news once more, all about the outs, old stories, big and interesting. We're going to start off first with James McAtee, and Fabrizio Romano has been reporting this morning that Manchester City are now close to selling James McAtee to Nottingham Forest for a fee worth more than £20 million. Now, I'm fully aware that Manchester City rejected a £25 million bid for him. I would wait for some facts to come out about this transfer first, including about what clauses and have been included and what the overall fee is going to be, because the £25 million bid that Manchester City received for James McAtee may just have been made up of bonuses. It might be, for example, a deal worth maybe £15 million plus £10 million in bonuses, and it might be difficult to achieve bonuses, whereas this north of £20 million offer might be an offer of, you know, Manchester City getting £20 million up front with the rest included in add-ons, with a good sell-on fee and a really good buyback clause included, to which case Man City would be accepting less as an overall offer for the second offer, but the second offer is a far better offer than the first offer, if you get where I'm coming from. That might be the case, it might not be the case, and Manchester City may be doing a bad deal here, but we don't know all the facts. It's very new information that's coming out, so I would wait until we get the facts before you look around on judgment on here. But looking at it at face value and looking at it on paper, it doesn't look great here from City rejecting a £25 million bid to reject a bid of just over £20 million, in particular when we've already dismissed Eintracht Frankfurt and Bayer Leverkusen's interest in James McAtee because they weren't willing to get as high as north of £25 million, and here we are accepting a bid potentially lower than £25 million. So all a bit odd, but as I said, just wait for the facts to come out before judging on this one, because there's definitely going to be more to this story than meets the eye. Fabrizio Romano may be playing it safe by saying north of £20 million. It may be a case where it's £30 million or maybe even more. Again, we don't know the exact fee and what we're dealing with here, so wait until we've got all the facts here before casting judgment about what's happening here with James McAtee. But certainly I would agree that I find this situation a bit bizarre, a bit odd, but as I said, wait for the facts. Now moving on, we've got the very latest on Stefan Ortega. Moreno and Simon Mullock has said that there is some interest from the Bundesliga in Stefan Ortega this summer. Stefan Ortega is interested and wants to move to Germany this summer, as he feels like that is the best bet for him to get into the Germany national team ahead of the World Cup next summer. No teams have been mentioned about who is interested in signing Stefan Ortega. Fact that we're looking at here with Ortega is he's got just over 10 months left on his Manchester City contract. Since we brought James Trafford in, Manchester City don't need Stefan Ortega anymore, so it does mean that Ortega will leave before transfer deadline day. The question is, where is that going to be? It's looking like Stefan Ortega wants to move back to Germany and wants to move back to the Bundesliga. Now moving on, we've had really big developments today on Jack Grealish, and it has been reported by the BBC first and foremost. They were saying this morning that Everton had made some progress in their talks with Manchester City to sign Jack Grealish on loan, and then talks and progress have been going really well because Fabrizio Romano has confirmed later this morning that Jack Grealish has now accepted a proposal from Everton to go on loan there for the season. He's got a medical booked at Everton for today, and he will be joining Everton on a season-long loan. That is expected to be confirmed and announced in the next 24 hours or so, and has had the here we go from Fabrizio Romano, which means Jack Grealish's entourage and camp have given Fabrizio Romano the nod here to send that tweet out and put that information out there to make it public knowledge that Jack Grealish will be an Everton player for the upcoming season. Now, we are waiting on word on what this loan package is, including what a loan fee is going to look like. The contribution to the wage, I think, is a big one here that I'm waiting to see more information on, and was waiting on more information about a potential purchase option being included, but David Ornstein has since confirmed that there is a purchase option included. It's going to be an option to buy, not an obligation to buy, and that's been set at a whopping £50 million, which, when we look at the facts here, by the time Jack Grealish has completed his loan at Everton and comes back to Manchester City, it's going to be a simple situation where Jack Grealish is going to be turning 31 years old in that summer. He's going to have 1 year left on his contract, and £50 million is a whopping amount of money to be paying for a player with 1 year left on their deal, and they're also 31 years old. Everton aren't going to be taking up that option to buy, so I don't know why it's been set so high. If it was up to me, it'd have been half, maybe even less than that, to tempt Everton into wanting to take Jack Grealish from City, because it saves us, again, this negotiations next summer to sort out another year's loan before Jack Grealish sees the end of his contract in the summer of 2027. So, yeah. Anyway, moving on, we've got the very latest on Savinho, and Fabrizio Romano has dropped a massive exclusive last night where Tottenham Hotspur have entered into talks to negotiate with Manchester City to sign Savinho. Savinho apparently keen on the move. Negotiations are ongoing. I'm wondering if this was a potential ploy being used here to try and get Savinho onto a new deal. After all, he's been at Manchester City for 1 year since we brought him in from Estac Trois last summer for £30.8 million. So 21 years old, 4 years left on his contract. I don't think that's the avenue that's been explored here. I think Manchester City are in a bit of a predicament where they do need to start moving on non-homegrown players. Mateo Kovacic has had some interest, but he doesn't sound keen on leaving Manchester City, and we're in a situation where Bernardo Silva and Ilkay Gundogan do have interest, but the clubs that are interested in them are potentially prepared to wait another 12 months until their contracts expire, where Manchester City now are in a predicament where they may need to move another non-homegrown player on, including that of Stefan Ortega, and I was expecting a surprise transfer. I just wasn't expecting it to be Savinho. Now, City do have some good right-wing options, including giving Oscar Bob more minutes and more opportunities, which I would be keen on, but I do have my reservations about his injury track record over the last 12 months, about, you know, if we're going to ask Oscar Bob to be doing 30, 40 games for Manchester City, is he capable of doing them 30 or 40 games? You got options like Ryan Cherky, Bernardo Silva, Phil Foden, they can all play on the right wing as well, and I can't see Manchester City being all that interested in, if they are to replace Savinho, with replacing him with a non-homegrown player, because, you know, replacing Savinho, a non-homegrown player, with another non-homegrown player means we'd have to sell another non-homegrown player to meet our quotas for the Champions League and Premier League. So for me, it'd make more sense for City just if we're going to sell Savinho, get a good amount, let him go, and maybe look at this at a later date, more than likely next summer, and stick with what we've got, which I'm sure is not what lots of people want to hear, but from the registration point of view, that's surely is what's going to happen. Now, I had heard some rumours going around that City had asked Tottenham Hotspur for around £70 million. They're just rumours and murmurs that have been chucked around. David Ornstein has said that Manchester City aren't actively looking to sell Savinho this summer, but he does believe that the player would be open to leaving, and Manchester City would be open to selling for the right price. Tottenham Hotspur are ready to go in with their opening bid set at €50 million. It's in euros because I believe the information's probably been relayed to the English sources from the continent, either from Europe or maybe coming in from South America, who maybe find it a bit easier to deal with euros than they do with the Great British Pound, as more countries, more teams and more people use the euro currency than they would the Great British Pound, but that might be the reason for that. It might not be. I'm just I'm not making it up, but I'm just taking an educated guess as to why it'd be in euros. But we're looking here at £43.29 million, which for me, with a 21-year-old attacker, 4 years left on his contract, bags of potential, Premier League experienced, had a very good season the season before at Girona in La Liga. Taking all that into account, not for me, well below value. The MEN has said that Manchester City would be looking for more than £50 million for Savinho this summer, and the Independent have said that Manchester City are disappointed with this opening proposal from Tottenham Hotspur set at €50 million, and it would take a lot more for Manchester City to even contemplate Savinho leaving this summer. The Independent have confirmed that Savinho has not told Manchester City that he does want to leave, but there is belief that Savinho would be open to a move should a deal be agreed. Fabrizio Romano has said that them first proposals by Tottenham Hotspur set at €50 million have been sent to Manchester City in the last 24 hours. Manchester City in negotiations and speaking with Tottenham Hotspur, where City have told Tottenham Hotspur that they're wanting more, and Tottenham Hotspur are negotiating with City and preparing a potential second proposal to come forward to Manchester City. So very surprising. I want to keep Savinho. I think he's a high quality player. He's obviously first season, it's been very much an adapting season, but I was looking forward to him doing his second season with City, because I always feel like you need 2 seasons really to be judged about what is going to happen. So for me, I'd like to have seen Savinho stay and be given his opportunity. But if his head's not here and he does want to leave, then I feel like he has to be honest and communicate that to Manchester City so we can sort out a sale. If I was in charge at City and I was looking to sell Savinho this summer, I think I'd definitely be looking for a value higher than €50 million. I feel like I'd be looking to even contemplate me thinking about selling Savinho. I normally look around £15 to £20 million per year that they've got on the contract. That echoes across like City were prepared to pay around £30 to £40 million for Morgan Gibbs-White, because they were valuing him at around £15 to £20 million per year that he had on his contract. He had 2 years left, so that's where that value came from for City. And I'd probably say the same for Savinho due to his age, the potential and length of his contract. You'd be looking at somewhere between £60 and £80 million. So £43 million doesn't even cut it. But again, we don't know what City are asking for and what they're looking for. City may want a good sell-on fee included and a buyback clause included. If that is the case, then just like with James McAtee, they'll have to negotiate on that price. So it may end up being around £43 million, but City get a good sell-on fee and a buyback or an option to match the value of whatever Tottenham Hotspur maybe decide to sell him in the future for. So these clauses that get included, it comes at the cost and it always comes off the overall fee. So I don't know what the angle is that City are looking for here or what Spurs are looking for. Again, still relatively new information, but a really big call and a shock of a transfer as far as I'm concerned. And to me, transfer window getting very interesting. And I am just reading, whilst I've been recording this video, that some information's come out from Sacha Tavolieri that Manchester City have entered into the race to sign Xavi Simons and have re-established contact with the players' agent amid the expected departure potentially of Savinho from Manchester City. Chelsea remain in talks with Xavi Simons and his camp to try and make a transfer happen. Man City have held a long interest in Xavi Simons. Again, new information that's coming out, so I'm waiting for more reliability to be put onto this story. I would be surprised if Man City decide to replace Savinho with another non-homegrown player. If they do, they're still going to have to sell somebody to ensure that everybody who is at the club right now can be registered for the Premier League and the Champions League. So it'd make more sense if City did want to replace Savinho that they were replacing him with a homegrown player instead. There aren't too many homegrown players out there as an option for City, a little bit like the right-back market, which if I were Manchester City, I know that Jed Spence is homegrown. If we wanted to sort out a right-back situation, you want to negotiate with us about having Savinho, is there not a potential that we could say, well, give us Jed Spence and you can have Savinho, and we'll look at the right-wing situation maybe next summer? Because I'd be surprised if we made a move for Xavi Simons. I'd be surprised if we made a move for Rodrygo. High-quality players. I'd love them at Manchester City. It's just with the registrations, I can't see how it works unless we're willing to make more hard work for ourselves than maybe what is needed. So we'll see. I'd love to know your thoughts of this though, guys, in the comments below. Also, don't forget to leave a thumbs up. We're aiming for 300 likes. Any help towards that would be much appreciated. Do subscribe as well if you are new around here. Press that red button, press the bell, and put your push notifications on. Also, don't forget social media links there in the description if you want to go and follow me on my X, Instagram, and TikTok. Email also in the description too if you want to hit me up for any sponsorships for any videos or any general business inquiries. And I'll see you all again religiously tomorrow for the next daily Manchester City transfer update, unless some huge breaking news comes out today, in which case we might have a second transfer update. Who knows? So, thank you for watching, guys. Much appreciated. See you tomorrow. I've been JSGC. Peace. Ciao for now.